Hello everyone. Today I'm running a service call for a client. Beautiful apartment. It's in downtown in the little city I live in. But this is a very common problem with Delta faucets. So you'll see probably about every 10 seconds it drips. Simple problem to fix typically. The only tools you'll need is some kind of little small screwdriver. Doesn't matter if it's a Phillips or flat. An Allen key, set of channel locks, and for parts, 90% of the time it's the seat and springs is all you need. Now they sell these individually. They're about $250, between $250 and $450 depending on what brand you get. This is a 50 pack. If you got a lot of properties or doing a lot of this kind of work, you may want to buy a 50 pack. I think it's $10, so it's a lot cheaper to buy the bulk pack if you're going to use them. And then occasionally you'll need a full rebuild kit. Most of the time you don't need this. I like to keep one on hand just in case, but I'm thinking in this case we can probably get by with just a seat and springs. So let's get started. I'm going to shut off the water and come right back and show you how to change this. All right, before we get started, always test to make sure there's no water on. Even though you've turned that valve and you think it's shut off, sometimes those valves don't work and you can get yourself in a bad situation if you don't test it and the water happens to be on. So the first thing we'll do, remove this Allen screw or loosen it. All right. Next thing, sometimes you have to tug on that a little bit. Next thing, we'll take the channel locks. Remove that. And now you should be able to pull this out. Sometimes they're a little bit challenging. And you can see right down in here, that's where the seat and springs go. Take a little screwdriver, pull these out. You can see how the spring goes. The big part goes to the bottom, the rubber sits on the smaller part. Alright, so here's one of the new ones. So the spring here, the rubber goes on the small part of the spring. And then I like to use a screwdriver, put that in there, kind of use it as a guide to get it in that hole. And a lot of times takes a little messing with it to get in place. And sometimes I use the back side of this and stick that down in the hole, and that can kind of help you maneuver it into place. All right, that feels good. All right, to reassemble, now we need to put this ball back in place. This sometimes can be a little bit of a challenge to get in, but it is keyed. This is keyed, and there's a pin right here that goes in there, so you can't put it in wrong, but it's sometimes a challenge to get down in here. A lot of times what I'll do is work on getting this key in place, and then you can just tighten it in with this. So now we can put this back on. Be careful not to scratch the finish. There is a place up here for you to grab on here with your channel locks. Don't need to go super tight here. Just a snug fit. All right, that's good. Now before we put on the handle, I'm going to turn on the water and let's test it and see if it's leaking. All right, the water is back on. Not seeing any drips. So I think we're good to put the handle back on. So slide that back on, tighten your Allen. that's it. Everything seems to be working. No drips, it doesn't look like. There's one there, but I think that's just residual from running the sink. So this is a cheap fix for a couple bucks. You can fix your sink yourself without, or your faucet yourself without calling a plumber. Please be sure to subscribe and leave any comments or questions you have below. Thanks for watching.